Welcome back, and in this video I'm going to give you some information on what is sampling error. So there's a lot of videos that I have taken on what is sampling and the different aspects of sampling, types of biases and different types of sampling. So you can take a look at those videos also. I've given the links in the description box. And in this video, let's get to see what is a sampling error. So a sampling error is a statistical error that occurs when the sample does not represent the entire population. So as a result, the results obtained will not represent the results that would be obtained from the entire population. So the key rule of doing sampling is that your sample should be a representation of the entire population. For example, if your population consists of all genders, then when you take out a sample for that particular population, your sample also should represent all the genders and it should not leave out any gender. Only then we can say that the sample is the exact representation of your population. So obviously when your sample is not going to be an exact representation of the population, then the results that you obtain out of that will definitely deviate from the actual results obtained from the entire population. Okay, so that delta value, that delta is called as the sampling error. Okay, so there are different types of sampling errors, and let's get to see what they are. So the very first type is population specific error. So this type of error occurs when the researcher does not know who to really survey. For example, I'll give you an example over here. A researcher wants to understand the food preferences of kids. Okay, he wants to do an analysis on that. So there would be a confusion as to who really needs to be surveyed in order to get utmost information for his research. So either there'll be a confusion as to whether directly to survey kids or to survey parents or only mothers, or even to check out and survey the hotels and food joints. So when you're not really keen and you really do not know who to survey, who to exactly to target, it's called as a population specific error. The next type of error is called as the selection error. So selection error occurs when the survey is self-volunteered and only interested set of the population take up the survey. Okay, so here I'll give you an example. A researcher wants to conduct a survey to understand if a particular product is being used by a large population. So now the entire population might be using the product. But if you see, when you want to survey the people, the different people of the population, not everyone will respond to your survey. Okay, there would be few people who might be interested and who self-volunteer. They would be, responding to the survey. So definitely only those people interested will give you some inputs, and you would be missing out on inputs of the other people. So this type of an error is called as selection error, where only certain selected people who self-volunteer, who are interested and come forward to do the survey, it's called as a selection error, because not all your population or not all your sample elements are responding to the survey. The third type of sampling error is the sample frame error. So before looking into what this error is, let us understand what is a sample frame. Okay, so a sample frame is a source list of individuals of a population from which samples can be drawn. Okay, it's a source list of individuals of the population. Okay, so here for example, if you see a telephone directory, a customer list, a students list, okay, identity manager with all the emails or all the roles, all these are nothing but sample frames. Okay, so for example, here if you see a customer list of a particular, let's say a store or a shop, they would have an entire list of their customers. So that can be a sample frame from which you can, if you want to do some studies, you can take out a set of customers and you can create a sample. Okay, so now this is about your sample frame. What is a sample frame error? A sample frame error occurs when not all elements are present in a sample frame. Okay, so now in order to take out samples from a sample frame, First, we should have all the members existing in your sample frame. If that is not going to happen, then it's called as a sample frame error. For example, let us take this particular example that we seen earlier. Let's say I'm having a sample frame called a customer list. I'm having a store and I have a sample frame with all the customer lists, with a list of customers. Now, there is a sample frame error. How? Because after going through the list, I understand that this is the list of all the customers who only do online shopping. Okay, the people who come to the physical store, their information is not over here. Okay, so that means not all my customers are in my sample frame. So because of the sample frame not having all elements, then this is called as a sample frame error. Okay, and then the fourth type of an error is non-response error. A non-response error occurs when a concrete response is not obtained from the surveys conducted because researchers failing to connect to the respondents, or maybe due to the respondents' unwillingness to respond. Okay, so non-response, by the very name we know that we are not getting proper responses, or even if we get responses, we are not able to come to a conclusion, we are not able to come up with a concrete or useful response. So that is called as a non-response error. And to give you an example for that is failing to reach out to a group of people with certain addictions, or people not being comfortable to speak up. So now let's say you want to do a research on people having certain type of an addiction. So initially not all people would come up and they would say that yes, I'm having this problem. So you need to find ways in which you can reach them. Okay, so first one is reaching out to the people would be tough. Okay, because you're not able to reach out to people, you would be with the in a situation where you're not getting a response. So that is one type of non-response error. Another one is, though you know the people, though you have reached out to them, they can be like, people who can respond to your survey and provide valuable information. Those people sometimes they will not respond, they will not speak up. So at that time also it's leading to a non-response, which causes an error in your sampling. So these are the common types of sampling errors that occur. So now what can we do in order to limit this particular error? And it's very easy. The simple rule is to increase your sample size. So let's say you have your entire population. If you're able to cover your entire population and do an analysis with it, well and good, that's the best method that would give you the accurate results. But because we are not able to, survey every individual element of the population only, we are going in for sampling. So now when you do sampling, you need to you need to make sure that it's the exact representation of the population. So the more and more your sample size keeps increasing, the more and more population elements are getting included in your sample, which means that you're getting more and more variety of the population elements into your sample, and you can cover more elements also. So that is the basic rule. The next one is to know your population. So like how there is know your customer, you should know your population. Understand your population, understand what is the demographics that exist in your population, what are the mixtures existing, how your population is categorized into, what are the different groups that exist in your population, what is the ratios of them. When you know this, you would be able to create good samples that represent your population. And there's a lot of videos that I have taken on how to create different types of sampling techniques, so you can view that, where I would have spoken on clusters, about stratified samples, clustering techniques. All this I would have explained there, so you can take a look at those videos also. I have given the links in the description box. So these are some ways you can reduce the sampling errors. So if this video was useful to you, please do give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.